Hey there viewers, welcome back to another episode of Ray of All Trades. And today we're working on a 2007 Acura RDX and my daughter's car. She says it's hot, the air conditioner's not cooling the car down, and there's a couple of things I can do prior to bringing it into the shop to have them do like a full evaluation where they discharge, they vacuum it out, recharge it, everything else. There's a couple items that I want to try, one of which is cleaning out the condensing, I guess it's the evaporator inside the car, and with a product, a foaming product that you spray up in there, let it eat away at the dirt and everything else, and then it drains out the condensate line. The other thing I can do is I can change out a relay. The Honda Acura line is known for these relays going back. G8HL-H71. I got a 5-pack of these things off of that jungle store, and we're going to go ahead and just give it a try, because it's one of those that you have to catch it in the act of failing before you can say that it's definitely bad. So we're going to throw one of these in as well. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put the car up on ramps, turn on the air conditioner, let it start trying to work, and see if I can find out where that condensate line is. It should be coming out of the firewall up on the passenger side. While we're waiting for this air conditioner to start leaking on the ground, let's go ahead and get the glove box opened up, because we're going to be changing out that cabin air filter. So empty out the contents of the glove box. Let's see, should be yep, so you just squeeze in the two sides here. This pops down fairly easy, and it looks like the cabin air filter, yep, it's right there. So the car's running right now. I'm gonna go ahead and take this out. Yep, it's got a lot of crap in it, so we're gonna change that at the same time. But one of the things I wanted to try, even though the can says to put it up through the condensate line only, I wanted to try to spray a little bit inside the vents. Not really sure if it's going to help or not. It doesn't say, it's not what the can instructions say, but it's what a lot of forums actually say. They're saying that, attack it from the vents as well. So I'll put maybe 1/3 of a can or 1/4 of a can into these compartments, into the vents and stuff, and I'll put the rest from the bottom up. Well, as you can see, I've got water coming out of the air conditioner. Let's find out where it goes. Boy, that's a hot one today. That didn't take long. Found it right there. So I'm on the passenger side of the car. There's my catalytic converter, front tire. It's basically dripping from right there. So now that I know where it's at, let's go ahead and shut it off. And I'll show you what I'm planning on doing, and hopefully this works. If not, I'll have to buy another can. So let's give it a try. Okay, got myself a pan. I wiped it out. I didn't sterilize it though. I just want to see roughly what comes out of there. Got a clamp to clamp off that hose underneath the car after I spray everything up in there, just to hold all the cleaner up in there. What I bought was this Cool It evaporator and heater foam cleaner. Helps remove odors, contaminants, leaves clean, fresh scent, blah blah blah. No drilling required. Fast, easy. So got the dangers, the directions. Preferred method is through the AC drain with ignition off. Locate drain opening, exiting evaporator enclosure. Add a waste container underneath. Shake can well. Insert the hose with the application tip in the drain opening until it reaches evaporator heater core enclosure. So basically you'll feel resistance. Snap the cap with the long hose of the top of the can and discharge entire contents of the can. Then remove the tube after allowing the foam to work for 15 minutes. Start vehicle, turn the AC fan on low setting and run for 5 minutes. The foam will turn into liquid and drain from the evaporator box, removing contaminants and odor. Let me shake this can up and take the lid off. I'll be right back. Alright, so this is what it looks like. I got the cap off. I shook the heck out of that thing. It's just a regular nozzle. It doesn't appear to lock in place. So I'm fairly certain I can do what my original intention was, which is spray a little bit in a few different places before I commit to putting it all up into the condensate drain line. Put that down in there. Just hit a few shots down in that one. Let's see, I got foaming cleaner coming out. So one more vent. Yeah, there's also a defroster. There's also a, man, it's hot out here. There's also a defroster. There's also the floor heater. I'm just going with the main vents at first here. All right, how about up through there now? There we go. So I'm gonna just take that hose, push it up in there as far as I can get it. Seems like it didn't go very far. There we go. Just trying to wiggle it a few different ways. I think it's supposed to go most of that straw length. Just try twisting it. There we go. Got a little bit more in there. Alright, well, I do know that if it can't come out this side, that it has to go up the other side. So even if I don't get it all the way, let's pinch that off, just to try to stop some of it from coming out. May need to use my fingers to do so, but alright, let's go ahead and empty this thing in there. Like that. Let's get, use my thumb and close that off. And I pinch off that side. Maybe that'll do it. There we go. I heard that get through there. It was almost like it broke through. And it looks like the can's empty. I'm just barely seeing bubbles come up through here. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything else. Let's go ahead and pinch. Let's pull the straw out and let's pinch that off. Keep as much cleaner up in there as possible. Yep, the can's empty. Alright, let's set the timer 15 minutes. See what happens. So while we are waiting, let's go ahead and get this cover. So 2 snaps here on the front. Close this fuse cover off. I'm underneath the hood on the driver's side. This right here, I just know because I watched the video. Anyway, this right here is my relay that I want to change. So if you're looking at the cover here, middle row of relays, these are relays by the way, those are fuses. Now middle row of relays, the bottom side with nothing next to it has a snowflake and the symbol for a relay next to it. I think that's going to be it. Hopefully y'all can see that. So the way a relay works, this actually looks like a fairly new relay. I don't know if somebody else is already messing with this. The way a relay works is it has a large current on one side that would supply another current on another side, and it has 2 small trigger wires. So when you apply voltage, it makes a larger connection. So it uses a small voltage and small current to connect a larger current. That's its purpose. So key is off, engine's off, and I'm just going to put that relay in there. Since it looks, the writing is much darker than the one I had, I'm going to go ahead and put this back in here and put a note on here that this was a testing relay. It's an Omron G8HL-H71. They sell supposedly upgraded relays for these. I did not see them when I was looking, but they are a common problem. So, I do know that the compressor occasionally works, or maybe worked all the time prior to this. So if it doesn't work at all, that's the first thing I'm going to go back to is see if this brand new relay was defective. So I am going to check that. So we're going to wait 15 minutes and check and see what comes out of the condenser, excuse me, the evaporator, and we're going to replace that filter right there. So while we're waiting, this is going to be one of my next projects. It's a pretty big vise made by Allied Forge. I need to do some research to see. Not a bad looking vise. It does still function, it does still move. I'm sure that it's gonna bind up at some point, so it probably needs to be cleaned out. So this is gonna be on my to-do list for restoring, so I can get this on the bench. I could use a large vise like this. Got a little bit of weight. Been stored outside for quite a while. Somebody gave it to me recently. Great friend of mine. We're gonna get this cleaned up. I think sandblaster, maybe flap disc, I don't know. Stay tuned, it's gonna be an upcoming episode. Alright, so it's been 15 minutes. We're gonna put the old filter back in before we turn this back on. And the reason is, if there's any trash like we just shook out of this filter just now, that's going to find its way through, I want to catch it in this old filter before we change it. So, and I don't want to run it without a filter. I think that would just be silly, asking for trouble. Filter's back in. Let's start it up. Air conditioner on low, it says. I'm going to remove the clip from underneath. It smelled good, if anything else. I'm going to let this run for a little bit. It says about 5 minutes, and try to catch whatever comes out of this thing. I can tell you it's already got some pretty dirty water in there. Cut off the ignition. The air conditioner is working really good, by the way. Let's pull out this cabin filter. So the cabin filter is not wet. 3047 HP, came from O'Reilly's, HEPA certified. It has an airflow direction, and it matches up with what we have here. It says airflow directions that way. Seems to fit one way better than the other. Let me drop that in there. It does smell much better. Let's put all that back together, and let's take a look and see what actually came out of this thing. Now the jar is not perfectly clean, and of course neither was the pan, but just out of curiosity, let's see what it looks like. Yeah, that was pretty dirty water that came out of there. So I'm going to say it did something. It smells better anyway, I can tell you that. If you're having AC troubles and it's clicking on and off, and you suspect the relay, or you suspect maybe it's dirty, those couple items before you bring it into the shop, it may solve it. If it doesn't, you're probably looking at some professional help, or where they're going to evacuate the system, put the right amount of oil, the right amount of refrigerant, things like that in. What I did here was less than 20 bucks and about 20 minutes worth of my time. So just to see if it solves the problem. I shouldn't say less than 20 bucks, because it was actually probably with the air filter. That was $25 for the air filter. It was about, the relay cost me effectively about a couple bucks. And the cleaner, I think, was 18 or 20. I'll link them all in the description. Hope you guys learned something from this video or got something out of the video. As always, thanks for hanging out with me. If you picked anything up out of the video you liked, give me a thumbs up, and a subscribe to the channel helps me tremendously. Makes me want to keep producing content even on days like this where the sweat is just pouring off of me. So thanks for hanging out, guys.